Call of Duty World at War was the first game that had zombies in it.
Right.
I'm a massive zombies fan, right?
Yeah.
So my mom and dad, instead of getting like an Xbox or PlayStation or something like that, they got a Wii. And everybody was telling me, like, oh, World at War is so good, but like if you beat the game, then you get zombies mode. And I'm like, dude, zombies mode? Like, that's awesome. Like, I can't wait. And I remember seeing people play. So I went through, and this is the Wii. Everything's motion control, based on how you do stuff. So I beat it on normal difficulty. And I was like, dude. And I was waiting for it. I was like, dude, where's zombies? Like, it didn't pop. And he's like, oh, maybe you have to beat it on veteran. And I'm like, really? Like, you have to beat it on hardest difficulty? And he's like, well, I just had to beat it on normal on the Xbox. So, maybe it's locked behind the veteran on Wii.
I understand where this is going now.
So
Yeah.
I
Anyway.
beat World at War, which is one of the hardest Call of Duties.
Oh, yeah.
With a fucking Wii controller, okay? They bombard your ass with grenades. They bombard you with everything. So, like, every second, I am struggling. You have to, like,
Dude, that's
motion
real
control.
PTSD.
I wish they
Motion control
I wish I would have told
everything.
you had to beat it with the steering wheel.
It was hard enough because,
Right.
every time you throw a grenade, you have to, like, pick it up, press a button, and then, like, literally throw it. And then when you're aiming, you're using both Wii remote, like, trying to get it on there.
How long did it take you?
At least a month. At least a month of coming home, going to work, and then religiously
And
coming
cussing.
back. And yeah, just cussing out controller. I mean, mom and dad were upstairs like, yeah, he's really hates some of these Nazis. It was
It's
World at
always
War.
the Nazis.
Yeah.
So guess what? Beat it all the way through. World at War does not have zombies.
So, did they tell you this just to mess with you?
No, they legitimately thought that, oh yeah, well, I have Call of Duty's World at War zombies and I beat it. So that's how you beat it. And then they're like,
So,
oh,
what
you must-
happened when you found this out?
Oh, I flipped shit.
But silver lining to the whole story is there is a multiplayer on the World of
There
War.
is a multiplayer, yes.
And because my man here played it on veteran for a month straight and beat it, turned into a multiplayer
God, yes.
That's true. You did.
Yeah.
You did get something out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Unfortunately, it's for nothing because those servers are long dead now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
completely dead. But yeah, I mean, I was mollywopping kids. The freaking- It was terrible. Anyway,
Some bullshit.
it was some.
I mean,
bullshit.
they had
This
every right.
podcast is
They had every
shit.
right to assume you
podcast
had
is
like the
bullshit.
Xbox or PS3 version.
Right.
Because who buys a Call of Duty game on the Wii?
The person that doesn't have a PlayStation or an Xbox
Parents
or
that don't know the difference between.
right.
It's okay. At least you didn't. Zombies has or World of War Zombies on the DS has. Or oh my god,
I played
World
the
at
shit
War
out of the Wii.
Has zombies. On
I
the
did
DS.
too. Yeah. Does it really?
Yeah, and it's hard as shit. You get knocked down by like one hit.
Freaking stupid. Well, welcome to the Zoo with Chill podcast. I am your host, Chill. Today we'll be doing our Attack on Anime, Attack on Titan.
Starting season 3, baby.
Season 3. As always, I'm joined by Colton, David, and Lee. How you boys doing tonight?
What's up?
Oi, oi.
Oi, oi.
I don't have a greeting.
Where's the
That
beef?
should be your greeting. From now on, I don't have a greeting.
I don't have a greeting.
I'm excited to be here.
Right.
I'm just excited to be
Just
here.
excited to be here.
So, tonight we'll be covering just 2 episodes for your listening pleasure. Episode 38 called Smoke Signal. In a cabin in Walrose, the top 10 and Armin are surprised by their inclusion into Squad Levi. Eren is made to run some tests in Titan form, but fails to harden his body. Hanji brings news of Pastor Nick's death at the hands of the interior MPs. The scouts then flee to Trost after hearing from Erwin. The government is opposing the scout regiment, demanding the custody of Eren and Historia. Levi runs a decoy strategy so Jean and Armin are abducted instead of the targets. Mikasa subdues the kidnappers as Levi watches Eren's purse. While looking on, Levi is ambushed by an old adversary and his team. So what did you guys think of this episode?
First of all, I think it's hilarious. It's the top 10 and Armin.
And Armin. Right.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was really funny.
You're not
Yeah.
in the top 10, but you can come along.
Right.
It threw me way off. It has a completely different feel.
It felt
Yeah.
like a huge time jump. Am I wrong, or did they switch animators?
Not yet.
Not yet, because
Not
it
yet.
looked different.
The whole thing feels different.
Yeah.
I don't know what it. I don't.
I feel like that's intentional.
Even the opening
Intro.
intro felt different.
Right.
I mean,
So
obviously it
what was
different,
the
but it's
time
like-
gap between the end of season 2 and the beginning of season 3?
July 23rd of 2018.
No. In show, is
No,
there a
no.
time jump?
Well, I mean, I'm talking about like
Oh, so the last episode of season 2 was of June 2017, and yeah, it was just a year. So
here's my question. I don't know if this has ever been answered. I'm sure it has, but did they know where this was going, or was it season to season?
So there was a manga that this was based off of.
Okay.
So there was an overall structure to where this is the storyline that we're
Did they
following.
jump at all from season 2 to season 3? Because like, when did Levi get involved? Like, what happened? How did all of them come together? It didn't end like that in season 2. No. They're just like in a cabin and Levi's there, and I was like, what's happening?
That is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, like,
there
what
has
is-
to, it does
Levi
seem
was
like
in the
there's some
capital,
time
right?
passed.
Yeah, there has to be some sort of time jump. I don't know how much.
I'm sure that there is, because end of last season, the scouts later conclude that the Titans were, which invaded Walrose, were in fact human citizens of Ragako.
Yeah.
As Aaron devotes himself to discovering how to use his newfound power, recovering Erwin concludes that the truth of the world is soon to be unknown. Another thing too is that between season 1 and 2, it's like 24 to 48 hours takes place. Like that whole season takes place within like a 2 or 3 day period.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, yeah, there probably has been like a week or two, or a
I
couple
just thought
weeks or
that
something like
strange.
that.
I wasn't mad about it. It just threw me off it because it felt like I was watching a different show with the same characters.
Right.
If that makes
I got
sense.
you.
Yeah.
The pacing's a little weird because you don't see really any Titans this episode other than Aaron whenever Hanji's like,
for a brief second.
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron wasn't even really in this episode
yeah.
at all. Mm-hmm. So it was more Levi. It's the Levi show now.
Yeah, it's Levi all the time.
Hell yeah.
I agree, but now we're concentrating on Levi. I mean, this episode was a little boring. I think it's just building up.
Right.
I was more like, what the hell's going on?
It's just one of those lore drop episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just setting the stage.
I think
for
it's a
the shit show
necessity.
to
I think
come.
the episode is a necessity. I just was like, it's not as action-packed and is what it is,
1 week.
1
has
week?
passed
Interesting.
between season 2 and season 3.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be
according to
my
Reddit.
guess.
Enough
It
to
can't
get
be more
Levi
than
in a
month.
cabin with him. And
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Levi's like cabin, and I love that it's going back to, hey, I know you guys just came in, but like this is Levi's joint. He runs the show, so everybody's wearing like maid stuff, and he's like,
Right.
he's like super clean about
Yeah, he's like,
everything.
"Do you wipe your feet?"
Right. You guys don't understand.
More yelling. More
Right.
yelling.
Yeah, so is at the end of this episode where he was like, we need to go now.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, they run a diversion where they're going through town, and then Jean is disguised as Aaron, and then Armin is disguised as Historia. But we don't know that right off the bat. So,
Right.
they're just riding horses, and then people out of nowhere just come up and kidnap them.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, crap. Like, what's going on? And I don't know. It's bad, but I still find it funny that Armin
Groped
getting
on
groped by
camera.
some dude.
What did he say? Armin's getting something. It was a word he used.
Right. I can't
It
remember.
was like, it's not felt up. It's like, it's not groped. He was like, the Armin's getting something. And
Yeah. Getting some attention.
I was like, sheesh.
You're right.
Armin fit a little too well into that role. If you
I
ask
know. I was like,
me. I had to do a double take with Jean. It was a little more obvious because he's a little more taller.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
with Armin, it was just like, I had to like triple take that one.
Could be her.
It's like
Right.
I could have been fooled.
And I forgot too that so you have Levi on top of the building where Jean and Armin are being held, and Levi's kind of like, yeah, these are just like low level guys. You should be able to take care of them, right, Mikasa? And I'm like, dang, you're just leaving Mikasa to wipe out this whole building by herself?
Well, yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I could see it,
She's
but
the
then
only reliable one.
but then you see like all of the rest of the scouts too, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
But
We
pretty
completely
funny.
glossed over the fact on why they're even having
Yeah, go
decoys
ahead.
in the first place. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember exactly what happened, but they're in this cabin and they get confirmation from
Pastor Nick.
not Pastor Nick. They got they were relaying information to Commander Erwin, and instead of saying anything, Commander Erwin would just like go relay this information to him, and they were just like, we have to leave.
Yeah.
because what would you say?
So
The-
they were
the
all
MPs.
they were all being held up at the house, and then they found out that the MPs, the military police, are after Aaron and after Historia. And was it this episode or next one where we find out that Historia like Historia is actually the
Heir to the throne.
heir to the
it's
throne.
the next episode.
Next one.
It's the
Okay.
next episode.
So anyway, we find out that they're hunting down Historia and Aaron for a reason. We're assuming that obviously Aaron.
Well, they're
because-
like, we're doing Aaron. They knew why, but they were like, why Historia?
right. It makes
They
no
had
sense.
no idea. Like, why
Exactly.
do they want her so bad?
And so Erwin is just like, hey, you guys need to get the hell out of this house. So they take off, and then right as they're taking off, then the house that they were in was just being surrounded by the military police. And you're like, oh crap. Okay,
And
yeah, we did need to get out of there.
What's the name of the captain? They show him briefly at the end of this episode.
Erwin?
That's his name?
Yeah.
Erwin?
Erwin, yeah.
Yeah. The captain. that
Pixis?
Is it Pixis that's coming after him?
Oh,
that he
no,
grew
no,
up
no,
with?
no.
They show him briefly at the end of this episode.
It's like a king or something like that that's in command of that area, and he's like, hey, you guys need to get these people.
Yeah.
I think I'm confusing the timeline of events, but Hanji goes to where Pastor Nick was murdered.
Yeah.
And it's basically like she sees right through these two guys because they're
Yeah.
not making it subtle at all. That they're like, yeah, they murdered that dude.
Yeah. Anything else on this one? Sorry, we're confusing. as
No,
shit.
it's okay. I mean, it's a good episode, and it's not my favorite, but
Right.
I get.
It's a
I just wish
necessity.
that there was just a little bit of this is like the Star Wars scroll.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's happened in a week. Blah 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 blah. Instead of just bam right into
I feel
it.
like
right
yeah,
now.
I feel like it's all like really fast paced.
Yeah.
It's not usually like this show's just kind of like slow burn kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But this episode is just like
And we're
concept
off.
after
I will say by
concept.
the next episode, I didn't care that the first episode started off the
Yeah.
way. I was over it. I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I give this episode about half a Twinkie.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go like a third of a Diet Coke can.
All right.
Nice.
I'd give it like a yeah.
Okay.
I'd give it a yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
I'd give this like a NCAA Houston team.
Okay,
So,
makes sense.
yeah.
All right, so what's the next episode?
So you really liked it.
It's not like, you know,
It's a number one seed.
right, but, you know, it's not as bad as like Duke or anything.
No, it's not Duke. Let's not get crazy.
But, right. Well, yeah, it's not that bad.
No.
Anyway.
This is going right
Any
over my
Duke
head.
fans out there, you can still kiss my ass.
Yeah, right. So,
Can I-
anyway, episode 39, which is titled Pain. Levi fights his way out of Kenny's ambush, whose subordinates have taken control of the carriage holding both the actual Aaron and Historia. He is joined by the rest of his squad in an attempt to rescue Aaron and Historia, but they are eventually forced to retreat. Afterward, Levi convinces Demo Reeves to work for the scout regiment. Reeves lures two interior squad members into a trap set by Levi's squad, and they reveal under interrogation that the Reese family is the true royal family. Kenny kills Demino Reeves for his betrayal, while Rod Reese reunites with his daughter Historia.
So real quick, Kenny.
Kenny.
He was just first introduced the last episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who I was talking about. Like, where did he just like came out of nowhere?
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get a backstory. We kind of get a little bit in this episode,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, why am I to care about this guy?
So the end, we forgot to mention too, like the lead up to the last episode is that Levi and them are following the actual Aaron and Historia. And Levi's like, hey, yeah, something's not right because they just sent these chumps to go after Aaron and Historia, like where they were known, you know what I'm saying? And so he's like, something doesn't feel right. And it's like rushed backstory where Levi's like, yeah, I don't ever think I told anybody, but I was raised by a real bad dude. You know, growing up, his name was Kenny, and he's a killer. There's a serial killer that was going out throughout whatever.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, by the way. I'm like, oh, why is that relevant?
So
I was raised
that
by
was
him.
where my question was, did they...
I feel like
Is it
Kenny was
season to
made up
Yes. Is it,
for this season alone.
Right.
Is it
And
season
they're like,
to season?
we want to get Levi more involved, and we need a reason to get him
Yeah.
involved.
Right.
So this is what we're doing.
Right.
Because they could have easily brought up that Levi is so quiet and
Whatever.
because he was raised in like a really
And they
bad
mentioned
environment.
that like whatever core they're a part of was trained to kill humans, and I'm just like, for what purpose exactly? Is it just this?
And now he's working for the MPs. You know, it's just
yeah,
like,
the guy who notoriously hated MPs is just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm working with them
Now I will say this episode's like good.
Yeah.
Like the action in it's pretty badass.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now
Levi
now they got
flying through the city.
now they got
with his
guns.
gear, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa.
whenever Mikasa is flying off with like the recently saved Jean and Armin, she was like, oh yeah, Levi said one more thing, is that we're no longer just fighting Titans, we're fighting humans too.
Right.
And then we get Levi on top of the roof and he's like, yeah, backstory. And the guy's like, oh, why is that relevant? And then he just gets boom right to the dome piece.
Gamer shot.
You're right. And they're like, oh shit. So yeah, that's where this episode takes off, is Levi just fleeing through the city and all of these scouts just getting hammered down by Kenny and his squad of killers with these bolt guns or whatever.
Yeah,
the big coffin hunters.
Right.
I've never fucking seen those before.
Right.
Well, you've never had to. They only fight Titans. They don't work on Titans. And we knew they had firepower because they had cannons.
Yeah.
So we
Right.
know.
Well,
They had rifles, like powder rifles, but this is more like advanced. This is
Right.
like effectively the same thing as like the swords.
It's straight up Wild
but
West. It feels like
just
the
with
Wild
gun.
West now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even the
Like a
scene.
steampunk Wild West.
Even the scene where Kenny is chasing Levi down and he goes into a saloon.
Right.
It's a very Wild West like scene. Turns the bottle so he can see his reflection, and I'm like, oh shit.
And it just shoots him right in the head, or not in the head, like more like in the chest. I think.
He shoots him. The chair catches it, but it knocks him back. I'm sure
It
he has
knocks
the steel-
Kenny back,
He has
yeah.
the steel plate on too. His
And then
chest.
Kenny's like, oh yeah, I should have known, Levi would have known that saloons are allowed to carry now, so.
yeah, we get the scene where he's like, "Don't hesitate. If you hesitate, they are going to kill you."
Yeah, Levi's telling that
He's
to
like,
the rest of his squad.
You hesitate for 1 second, they're going to kill you. You have to kill them 1st. And then who was it that hesitated?
So John and Armin are able to get back onto the cart where Aaron and Historia are being held.
yeah, Levi's
and they're knocked
like,
out.
Levi's like, Armin, go take control of the cart. And he's like,
Right.
I'm the strategy guy. I'm
Yeah.
not the,
I'm not the doer of anything.
yeah, I'm not the doer of anything. We learned that real quick.
Yeah,
too.
For
but
sure.
On that note, they get onto the cart. Jean hesitates,
Hesitates.
and Armin pops a cap in the woman who's about to.
That's
Kill
where
John.
the half part of this episode, because you don't know who got shot.
Yeah.
Because the blood is raining down on like the camera.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
like
because
someone's
I
vision.
figured Jean wasn't gonna die. Like,
No, but also you never know. But I
Exactly.
wasn't expecting it to be Armin, because
Right.
the second half opens with Armin puking in the river and Hanji's rubbing his back.
Yeah.
And he's like, does it get any easier, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you know he survives and that he had to have done something bad. But
Yeah. So, and then yet
Sheesh.
they had that conversation later on where Levi and them, they try and take back over the cart, but it would put the rest of the squad in danger, right?
Yeah.
And so Aaron and Historia are taken away.
Yeah. And Mikase was not happy about that.
Right.
We're running on steam here.
Yeah,
Like we
fumes.
got nothing left, you know?
They're able to get a hold of one of the merchants that was in on the job, and they're taking them in. And
He's in like the first or second episode, isn't he?
Yeah.
Of the entire
Yeah.
thing. He's
Yeah,
the
the
guy
one
that is blocking the path out. Yeah.
And Mikasa calls him out then.
Yeah.
Calls him out again.
Yeah.
you know, they're able to get that, and then they take some guy in the basement of this house, and they torture the crap out of
I
him.
tricked the merchant to basically drive the carriage to wherever, and they ambush these two guys who were the guards I mentioned that Hanji was talking to.
Oh, right, yeah.
They were in front of Pastor Nick's like house or whatever.
Yeah.
And they kill one of them, but they knock out the other one. And the one that was knocked out is the one that's being interrogated. And this dude is going through it. Like
Yeah.
Levi was already like didn't even ask any questions. He was already just starting tearing body parts off.
This guy is just singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Hanji gets down there, and then they make a comment about like, I think the screams are louder now that Hanji's down there now.
Yeah.
Well, I think as soon as Hanji enters in, Levi's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to start asking him questions." And I'm like, "Oh God."
Got a little too.
I also
excited.
like that Levi at one point in
Gotta
time
soften him up a little bit first.
Right.
Armin's losing his crap about killing his first person. He's like, I can't tell you if we're the good guys or bad guys at this point in time.
Yeah,
Like
Armin says that. Yeah.
No, Levi says it.
Yeah, Levi's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
moral. He's like,
And
my
they're like,
moral
why would you
compass is
say
shot.
that to him? And he was like, well, I mean, I don't know the answer to it. All I can do is follow my gut, really, you know, like.
And he also tells Armin too that because Armin is, having doubts about, like you were saying, he was having doubts about, is this going on? And he was like, I don't know. But at the end of the day, the only reason that Jean and you are alive is because you didn't hesitate and they did.
Yep,
So,
you did what you had to do. But he was like, why was I able to get my shot off before her? And he was like, she must have been a good person and hesitated.
Yeah.
And he was like, and I didn't. And Levi's like,
You're alive. John's alive.
But I was about to say, like, guess who's alive though?
That built up anger from being felt up in custody.
So
Hands off.
They're torturing the guy, and he's like, I'm not going to tell you anything. You can rip all my fingernails off. I'm not going to tell you anything. And Levi's like, let's just take a break. And then they trick him in the hallway
yeah.
with the other guy. They have like a piece of paper, and they're holding it up, and he's like, say all this stuff.
Oh, so we got everything we need, so we can just kill that guy, right?
Yeah. And he's like,
Turns out I will say something.
Yeah.
that's where the episode ends, I believe, right?
Well, then you get the two merchants that are outside, and he's talking to his son, and his son's like, yeah, and then he's like, well, I'm gonna go take a whiz, and kind of goes in this back alley, and then the merchant guy just gets
Kenny shows up. Isn't it Kenny that finds him?
I'm sure.
Yeah, and kills him. He was like, shouldn't have talked. And they were like, why didn't you ask him where Levi was? And he was
'Cause
like,
they probably already
he'll
know.
turn up.
yep,
He'll come
show
find
up.
me.
He'll come find me. He'll turn up. Yeah. And then the kid's in the alley shaking and crying and pissing himself.
Right.
Yeah. That's where it ends. Yeah.
So what'd you guys think about this one?
It was a good episode.
It was a very good episode.
I agree.
Yeah.
Action packed. Like I said, that part where Levi's flying through the city with his gear, getting away from these guys.
It's so cool.
Awesome.
Like, awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's very like Matrixy. Him twisting and turning and flying backwards and like
Oh, yeah.
it was,
Hitting the brakes and
it was pretty cool.
Another cool thing too is that the gear that Kenny's guys use, it's like a grapple, but it's like on the bottom of their guns. Does it make
that's cool.
sense?
Yeah.
So like they're shooting, but they're also using them to like
for- as
Spider-Man's
weapons.
Yeah.
That was really cool to see
Levi?
Levi using the gear as a
yeah.
weapon itself.
Yeah. Shooting people in the
Shooting
face with
people
it. Yeah.
and like hooking in their backs and whatnot.
Flinging their bodies.
Yeah, he like
and-
hooks him and hits him with his sword like it's a one-hit combo.
Yeah, like
Right.
how did the dude not chopped in half?
Right.
Yeah.
Because if Levi's strong enough to hack open the back and neck of a Titan, I can't imagine a human body would give much more resistance.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what do you give this one?
What do I give this one?
Yeah,
I give it a 5.
Okay.
a 5.
Just a 5.
Nice.
I'm going to give it a full size, like king size Snickers bar.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah. How about you?
Oh, I was gonna give this a full box of double stuffed Oreos.
A
So-
full box of double stuffed Oreos.
Now that-
It's a good episode.
I'm going to give it a medium popcorn with extra butter from AMC Theaters.
Ooh.
Okay. That's perfect.
Got you.
That's,
Yeah, that's great.
Specific. It's
Yeah.
very specific.
Yeah. No,
Could be a little better. Could be a large.
Right.
But it's a medium, and it's going to hold me over.
Yeah, baby.
So, all right.
All right.
Cool.
Till next time.
Until next one. Later.
Oi.
Bye.
Bye.